That's a winner. Coach, you talked about your big money players before. They certainly performed tonight. They made it look easy. I know it's not easy, but can you explain how they were able to just find each other in the right spots and put together that performance?
Well, Chris, let me start by saying this is a team sport, and let me go down the list of Steph, Ymar, Shane, Alex, Nuhu after his little mental lapse, Christian and JP in the middle of the park. I mean, all of the money players, everybody that we pay money to play this sport had a big game tonight. Now, you set me up for a softball question because you look at the goals and the first goal was unbelievable. Raul, Jordan, Nico, second one, corner kick. That's just Raul doing what he does. He's an assassin in the box. The transition goal, Nico, Raul, Jordan. Yes, the big three did their jobs tonight. They earned their paychecks. But I think what I'm most impressed with is the fact that this game was never going to be easy. We knew Bob was going to have his team ready. He's a great coach. That's a great franchise. It's just testament to the qualities that we have on our squad that we're able to beat a tricky opponent when some other top seeds couldn't this evening. And again, kudos to those three, but they'd be the first three to tell you that they couldn't do it with the people behind them. So that's my storyline, and thank you for that question.
Jeremiah.
What you mentioned, one of those players that wasn't one of the big three, but Alex Roldan comes in after not starting much this year and had really a monster all-around game. He ended up leading you with key passes, had a bunch of defensive plays. Can you just talk a little bit about the growth that Alex has gone through this year?
Jeremiah, I don't have the stats in front of me like you do, key passes and all that. I'm sure I'll get that tomorrow from our, the guys over here on my right, the stats guys over here. Alex, he's laughing. I'm sure I'll get all that for tomorrow and I can digest the film and the stats. But what I would say about Alex is tonight was a big game for the club. It was again against a tricky opponent, and he performed over and above my expectations. That's how I feel. I mean, Alex is a tremendous young player, and he lives in the shadow a little bit of his brother. And tonight, I don't think you would say that. I think you would say Alex is a very, very good, capable right back in MLS.
Matt Pence.
Hey, Coach. Bob is a coach with a pretty big pedigree, and LAFC is an organization that's gotten a lot of hype. Is there any extra satisfaction that comes from not just matching, but exceeding that level back-to-back years in the playoffs now, both as a coach and as a collective group?
No. I mean, look, they were missing a few guys. Obviously, we were missing a few guys. Bob has had coaching experiences that I haven't. I'm blessed to be here in Seattle, in my hometown. You guys, you, Matt, of all people, have written about that, so thank you. But, I mean, tonight's game is symbolic of, again, just our club, the players on the field, the coaching staff that comes up with the game plan. It's a combined effort. LAFC is a great organization. I mean, they took the league by storm. Atlanta, LAFC, two tremendously successful expansion franchises. But, I mean, I just have to bring it back to the guys on the field tonight. They were the ones that performed. I mean, my job is actually pretty easy, Matt. when you go through what we do in a 4-day lead up to the game, and you work on your tactics, and you do the physical preparation, and you do the mental preparation, then it's up to the players on that day to make plays. And tonight, our guys made plays. I mean, that's the bottom line. I said that before the game. I said the team that's going to make more plays. And look, I could tell you, Matt, that we could have had a couple more goals. I mean, post here, Jordan's miss. I mean, there were some really good attacking movements that I'm going to try and really emphasize in the preparation for our next match.
Andrew Harvey.
Thanks, Matt. Coach, admittedly, these numbers are not official, and I'm not exactly a mathematician. But coming back to Raul, I think if I have this right, he averages about 1.8 goals and assists per 90 minutes in playoffs compared to about 0.8 across the regular season. I know a lot of that is he's the guy that benefits from your whole team, increasing their quality of play when they hit the postseason. But can you talk a little bit about what makes him special or different in his ability to convert so effectively when it hits do or die time at the end of the year?
Well, let me try and give you the stats that my expert statistician over here has given me. Raul has 8 goals, 6 assists in 7 playoff games. That, Andrew, is a very impressive stat to me. I talked about the 2018, Portland series. We talked about last year, the 3-1 down in LAFC. Raul has scored goals, but the importance of the goals, his ability to be a creator, his assistant. I mean, look, he swings the ball across to Jordan. Jordan lays the ball off to Nico. That's such a good soccer movement play, everything. His goal, his second goal, our second goal, Raul's first. I mean, that's just instinct. It comes from a corner kick. Nico plays it, okay, whatever, it goes there. Raul knows where the ball is going to go already. He just senses where it's going to go. He takes a positive touch, strikes it in the goal. He makes it look so easy. I mean, guys like that earn every cent because in these big moments, in these big games, playoff games, conference finals, MLS Cups, all of that sort of stuff, guys like Raul are going to be the guys that win you those games.
Nico Moreno.
Hey, Coach. Two questions. The first one is, it seemed like throughout the game, aside from the offensive power you guys showed today, the way you guys were keeping your shape defensively and frustrating LAFC in both halves, how much went into that, and how satisfied were you with most of the defensive job here today?
You said 2 questions. Was that?
Oh, yeah. I was going to have you wait, but the other one is
Okay.
just simply, just like what everybody just saying, regardless of where they are in the table of standings, LAFC is a protagonist in this league, and they obviously have quality players. How important is it for the inertia of the team to start the playoffs against a rival like this one, and how much would that impact the upcoming games that maybe set some sort of tempo for you and your team?
Okay, your second question is a really interesting one, Nico, because as we were watching the games unfold tonight, New England and Nashville won games tonight when they were underdogs because I believe that those play-in games helped them. New England looked more cohesive than Philly, and Nashville looked very cohesive tonight, and so that was one of my worries coming into the game was, can we be cohesive? Are we going to be able to get up on top of, a team, an opponent, a tricky opponent, and dictate tempo, training, how we want to do, playing, all of the stuff we want to do. So that's interesting. Your first question, I mean, I'm gonna reference, you know, Javi had a good game last year down in LAFC. You know, he shouldered Vela early. You know, the LAFC fans would have called a penalty on another foul, but Javier did a good job down in LAFC last year playing physical because it's the playoffs. But if you watch that first tackle out by the right sideline, or, you know, when Vela was coming ahead and Shane O'Neill covered for Nuhu and Vela took a little bit of time getting up, I think that playoff intensity is what propelled us to win the game. We were up for the game. Again, LAFC is a great team. But Nico, again, I could tell, I didn't have to say anything before the game, really. We just clarified tactics, and, you know, once we saw their lineup, we said, okay, this, and this. But the players in that locker room, they were up for the game. And it was evidenced by that one tackle out with Shane out at the touchline with Carlos.
Thanks, Coach.
Masvida.
Hey, Brian, just staying on the determination and the focus of your team, because Jordan talked about, though there was no fans, he felt like it was a playoff game as he was coming up. My question is this: so much is talked about who you're playing, and nothing is said about the fact that your determination and focus, and by the way, you're the defending champions, and just how you guys play with. Can you just talk about how you're playing with determination and focus without being too brash or anything, just staying with the plan that you have set for these players?
Okay, Maz, another good question, because I can push it back onto Jordan. In the pregame interviews that Jordan made when he was announced with Raul and Nico as, you know, best 11, what did Jordan say? What did Jordan say about the culture of the club? I mean, you guys can go back and reference his quotes. This is a winning club. There are expectations. And the kid knows that. He feels that. The team knows that. The team feels that. And that mental toughness is what allows us to win games like this against a quality opponent. I don't care if they were missing 4 guys. That was still a good team. Bob's a great coach. But Jordan knows, Nico knows, Raul knows, Steph knows, Christian knows, JP, we haven't talked about JP, he knows. I mean, these guys are all winners. In that locker room, they're all winners. And that, again, is what makes me so proud of this club, is that those guys all get it. They all understand. It's built into their DNA. It's built into their culture. So I'm happy when I don't have to speak that. I don't have to say those words. When Jordan Morris, one of the nicest kids I know, by the way, is talking about mental toughness and determination and drive and integrity and push and doing things, when he says that, then I know we've got a good squad.
Thank you.
Time for a couple more here. Dylan Butler, MLSsoccer.com.
Hey, Brian. There's been bigger wins, obviously cup winning games, but the performance, the overall performance at such a high level tonight, maybe it's hard to rate and rank because you're immediately after this game. But I got to imagine this is one of the better performances that you've seen your team play. And again, like you said, against a tough opponent, against a very good coach.
Yeah, I love your background. Love your background, Dylan. Thank you for that. Look, again, you know, I think Taylor Twellman said in the pregame that last year at LAFC was the best performance by a Sounder team. Tonight was pretty good. We had the home field advantage. Granted, there were no fans, but we had a little bit of an advantage there. I think we're used to playing in the confines of CenturyLink or Lumen Field now, by the way. But yeah, it was a pretty, I would say, impressive victory, again, you kind of, I would say I would measure our victories against your opponents. What was the best? Okay, if you're going to beat a team 4-0, or there are a couple of playoff games where we'd win handily, and it was like, okay, whatever. I mean, this was a very highly anticipated match, and we were able to execute the game plan. The big three again had a big hand in that. The other guys on the field, Nuhu, I haven't talked about Nuhu. I mean, he was good today other than his one little blip. We had a different back four than last year's playoff team. I mean, there's so many positives about this game that it gets me fired up to talk about how good the team was tonight.
We've got 2 hands up left, so we'll do 2 last questions. Rachel Krieger, why don't you take this one?
Okay, thanks. Hey, Coach, congrats on the win. Joven Jones has pretty much been moved almost everywhere on the pitch this season, except for, in goal. Left back, right back, left mid, attacking mid, all that fun stuff. What was your decision-making process to putting him in the right attack tonight? And just, can you speak on his versatility and how much that helps the team?
Rachel, you have a nice background as well. Thank you for that. Like the thorns, the dash, everything. I love that. Joven Jones is one of my favorite players on the team. I love Joven. I think he's so talented. He's got a good personality in the locker room. Everybody loves playing with Joven. He's so talented technically. Last year we played him at right midfield, and, he was very, very good for us. In the final last year, we started him at right midfield. We brought him back to left back. So he gives us some versatility. He gives us that quality that I appreciate. And so, he can drive you nuts sometimes with this island mentality and this, that, and the other, but then he'll make a play and he'll do something, and he's clever. He's entertaining. I would say he's entertaining to watch. He's got some pizzazz. So Joven, I love him. He's a great kid. Happy to have him on the team.
Thank you.
And to close us out, Matt Pence.
I know there's a long way to go before you guys reach what you ultimately want to accomplish, but is there any sense of any kind of weight being lifted at all? You seem to be in a pretty good jovial mood tonight. I would imagine in the context of this year, with everything that's happened, that maybe there would be a little extra emotion behind this one.
No, Matt, thank you for noticing that. I think Jeremiah or someone said that I was grumpy throughout parts of this year. I mean, look, I was a little concerned about tonight's game. So thank you for that question, because I can give you an honest answer. This was going to be a tricky game. Again, just because of the revenge factor, Bob, the team, Bela coming back. There were some anxious moments for me before the game, during the lead up to the game, before we scored the second goal, when they scored their goal. This was not an easy game. You saw Philly and Toronto losing. This is MLS. I mean, this is like 2020. It's crazy. And so, yes, I am in a good mood tonight, not just because of the Heineken that Nolan Meyer, my equipment manager, gave me after the game, but the team performed well. The team performed up to their level against a quality opponent. Now you've got a season-ending win against San Jose. You've got a first playoff game win against a tough opponent, and we're starting to build some momentum. I can feel the team building some momentum, and that's what makes me happy.